Okay, everyone, it's time to crop it like it's hot. Now, I know the cropping tool might not be the most exciting thing to learn, but if you can do everything I'm about to show you in this video, you will be able to prevent or solve some problems with your slide design. And you'll even be able to do something pretty cool. In other words, not using these cropping strategies will make your slides as cringe as my stale millennial jokes. That's why in today's video, I'll be covering 4 different cropping strategies you should know. I'm Dr. Echo Rivera, and just in case you're new to my channel, in my videos, I might do things like tell stories or use a lot of examples, and we sometimes go in unexpected directions while I'm trying to make a point. If you are in a rush and you just need the steps urgently, a video, especially my videos, might not be the best choice. Videos are slow, and most people can read a lot faster on their own than someone else can speak. So if you're in a rush, that's totally fine, but my blog might be a better choice. Now, I know some guys are still going to come in here and comment that I talk too much and my videos are too long and blah, 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 but you can't say I didn't warn you. And maybe, again, my video just isn't for you. I make videos for people who want to kick back and have some fun while learning PowerPoint and presentation design. And with that out of the way, we're going to begin in an unexpected place today. Because there's this really weird thing that people will do in their slides and they don't even know it's a problem. So I need everyone watching this video to be convinced that this is a problem that needs to be fixed. So real quick, let's not think about slides. Let's think about movies and TV shows. Okay, so this is how movies look, right? Like at least in terms of their proportions. I wish movie theaters were this empty. That seems amazing. But yeah, you don't notice anything wrong with the fake movie video thing I'm showing, right? It's widescreen, it's normal. Okay, well, let's pretend for a second that movie theater executives were hanging out and brainstorming ways to make extra profit that year. And one of them proposes a radical idea. He proposes, let's revert our movie screens back to squares, right? Like bring 1995 tech back to theaters while charging 2025 prices and saving on that electric bill. It's the capitalist way. Except he forgot that movies are still made in widescreen, so there's a problem now. The movies just don't fit. What are they to do? They need to make this work, for the profits. Well, imagine if they solved this problem just by squishing the whole movie to fit the square, which means, yeah, it's completely distorted. Would you watch an entire movie if it were squished like that? No, because it's weird and annoying, and you'd probably start getting sick or even a headache. We do not like to watch things or look at things when their proportions have been distorted. The correct thing to do when an image or video is too big for the space available is to crop it. That means we keep the proportions, but we remove the excess that doesn't fit. Please tell me that you see the difference and that you would not find a distorted movie acceptable. Pretty much everyone who isn't being a troll or difficult on purpose would agree. We need to keep it proportional. We need to crop. Maybe my example with movies is too outdated, but you see this a lot on social media too. For example, people will make a video that is in portrait mode for people to watch on their phones, but they might also have a YouTube channel. And imagine if they uploaded their video and YouTube just stretched it to fit widescreen, right? Kind of like the opposite direction here. This is a problem. This is not okay. This is why we see that proportions are kept at all cost. In this case, they aren't removing the excess. It's just that the extra space isn't filled in. It's just left to be blank. You're fully convinced, right? Okay, if people understand this fundamental idea of maintaining proportions for videos, aka moving pictures, then please tell me what is happening in people's brains when we open up PowerPoint or whatever, type out our text, add a picture, and then when it doesn't fit in the space, people will literally do what we just talked about. They will squish it and they will smash it, and then have the audacity to present this to other people as if this is okay. I see this all the time. I am constantly seeing slide decks full of distorted photos. My friend, all you have to do is crop the photo, and it is so unbelievably easy. So let's get to cropping. We're going to start with the most basic standard crop that everyone should know. All right, so just click on your picture and it's going to activate some more options here at the top, and just click on the crop icon. Okay, and now we can just adjust it to remove the excess. So you can grab one of the side sliders there, drag it in, grab the top slider, drag it in, and then you can just click out. And there you go. We have cropped the photo, super easy. Now we can kind of move it over to where we want. It's still a little too big, so I'm going to use the diagonal square, not the square in the center, the diagonal square. That's how we maintain proportions. And then we can place the picture. And that's the difference. In the first way, we just squished it, we distorted the photo to try to make it fit, but in the second way, we just did a couple seconds of cropping to make it fit the space. You see how much better this looks, right? Another mistake I see is kind of in the opposite direction, where people might try to have a picture take up more space on the slide and they don't really know how to do it. So they just kind of move it in a place, and then they, again, might stretch it so it's a little bigger. And then there might be sort of another challenge, like this photo, it had a lot of space for grass, right? And so, not only did we kind of stretch the photo, but we had to position it in a way where we don't see all of that grass. Like the grass part is kind of off the slide. But ultimately, this doesn't look very good. And the reason is because, what we're trying to do here is just keep the entire picture as is instead of just like cropping things out. So let me show you again how cropping can make something like this look really nice. All right, so let's do a little slide makeover over on this one. I'm going to zoom out just so we can see a few things that I'm going to do. And again, we can sort of click on the slide. I want to make it bigger, so I'm going to use the diagonal square, not the square in the center. And I'm making it bigger than the slide at first. Like that's totally okay. Some people are sort of worried about that. You can totally make the slide a little bigger. It's fine. And the first thing I'm going to do is crop out this section of the grass. All right. And so then I'm going to also crop out a little bit from the top over here. And that's good. That's pretty good. So I'll click out, take a look at things, and now I can position it. And the key thing that I'm going to be able to do with this is I'm going to be able to have the body and the face of the dog actually facing the text. Before, because we were just trying to move the picture instead of cropping it, we couldn't do that. So now I'm just going to do a little bit more cropping just to make it a little easier to manage as I work with the image. And now I can just literally move the text boxes over. So I'll move this text down, bring the picture back over, and I'm trying to put the picture at about, half and half, something like that. And then this is like, this text is taking up too many lines. So I'll just decrease that font size a little bit and then move that back up. So let's take a look. This is what it would look like when presented. Even though the image was actually going off the slide a little bit on the bottom, you're not going to see that when you present. Now compare that to this, right? We have a squished photo, the dog facing away from the slide. This one is so much better. Here's where we can compare side by side. See, the one on the left is distorted, just kind of squished to take up space and positioned in a way where the body is facing away from the text. But with just some cropping, we were able to create the slide on the right. So cropping is going to help you prevent a big problem. That big problem is distorting your visuals. Now that you know the basics of the crop tool, let me show you something a little cool. You can use this standard way to crop pictures into shapes, like a circle. Okay, so we've got our image. I'm just gonna go ahead and click on it to sort of activate this, tab area up here, the picture format tab. But instead of clicking the crop icon, I'm gonna click the arrow next to it, which opens up this menu. And I don't know if you've ever looked at this or explored this before, but you do have some options. You're going to hover over crop to shape and choose the circle. Now it chooses like the edges of the original photo and like starts there as the starting point. So yeah, it's kind of like an oval. So here's a trick that you can do before you crop into a shape. Basically, just use the basic cropping strategy we just talked about, where you remove some of the excess in advance. Like just make it like a smaller square, basically, before you even crop it into a shape. So move that back. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing here is like, all right, I just want to get it like closer to a square, and then I will redo that step. I will click the down arrow over here, hover over crop to shape, and then choose the circle. Okay, so it's like a little closer, but it's still not quite a circle. We can see that here if we look next to the crop icon, it will tell us the measurement of the height and the width, and they're not the same number. So we do want to do some adjustments. Now we actually click the crop icon, and again, we're just using those little black sliders to adjust. So I'll adjust the top and move that down a little bit. And you can see that as I'm doing this, PowerPoint does give you the dimensions, like right there in a little pop-up. I don't know if it shows up on your screen. It is a little small, but that does help sort of do like these fine-tune adjustments while you're adjusting it into a circle. So there we go. Same size, perfect. So there's our circle. Now let's say you don't actually like where it cropped. You can click again, click crop, and just hold the picture and move it around. Like notice I'm holding it in the area outside of the cropped circle, and then you can adjust that way. Now you might be thinking that is pretty cool, but that seemed a little annoying, a little tedious, and I would agree with you, but that's why I have some more options for cropping that I will show you next. Now that we've covered the standard crop, let me show you the next one. This one is done by using placeholders. Now this video isn't really about placeholders, so I'm just going to do a speed example of what I mean. So I've gone in and I created my own custom slide master, which means custom templates and layouts. And I did that specifically so stuff like this would be faster. So here's one of the layouts that I made. Let's just first transfer and adjust the text real quick so you can see them in sort of the same way. So just sort of copying the text here. Let's just adjust that down just a little bit more so it's not too many lines. All right, let's go ahead and grab these couple, bullet point type things. Okay, now let's get to adding the picture. I have it over here on my desktop. I'm just going to drag and drop. That's it. I dragged and dropped it into a placeholder, which cropped it for me. I can click on the crop icon and adjust it just like I was showing you a little bit ago. So we can still do that even when we use a placeholder. Look at how fast that was. But that wasn't the annoying process. The circle was much more annoying and tedious. Well, when you create placeholders, you can set them up in advance to be circles. Let me show you that now. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go into layouts and I have created one that specifically has a circle placeholder. Drag and drop and we've got a circle. And yes, once again, I can click that crop icon and then further adjust. I can adjust the size. Notice I'm using the diagonal square, not the square in the middle. And then I can just literally move it around to be exactly where I want it to be. So we can use placeholders to crop ahead of time for us and make this process super fast and easy. By the way, these layouts, a full custom slide master, is included as part of my online presentation skills masterclass. I made like over 100 custom layouts, and my course is only about 32 hours, so that's like 4 full-day workshops. If you're interested, be sure to check that out. My masterclass training is not a PowerPoint technical training. The course is about how to be a visual communicator, how to think like a designer, the strategy behind design and visualization. PowerPoint tech videos are more on my YouTube channel. I save the PowerPoint tech training for my YouTube channel for everybody, so everybody can get better at PowerPoint if they want to. Either way, you should really be using custom placeholders to speed up your life. The default PowerPoint placeholders and layouts suck. They are really awful. You have to customize them. But let's move on to the next way to crop. I call it the shape crop. For this one, we're not actually using the official crop tool for these. We're going to use shapes to crop. We can crop a picture into a shape using a shape with the merge tools. So that's what we're going to be using for this one, like the merge tools, the merge shape feature in PowerPoint. And this one is how you can actually do cool things in PowerPoint. This is how I was able to create this in the title slide. I used letters as shapes to stamp out of the image in this way. So yeah, it's like a fun, cool thing to know. And we're going to specifically use the intersect option from this merge shapes dropdown to do this. So let's start with a text box. So we'll type the word cool in a text box and put it on top of the image. And then you select both the text box and the image. And then look for this merge shapes menu. It's going to pop up once you do that. It's technically under the shape format tab in PowerPoint. But yeah, this kind of stuff, PowerPoint has that dynamic menu. So it should just kind of pop up once you do this. But if not, just look for that shape format tab and that's where it should be. Now, after this, all you're supposed to have to do is click on where it says intersect, like right there in that drop-down menu, and then you've got your cool words with a picture inside the letter. It's super pretty, right? Like it's just a really nice trick to know. Now, I do have a disclaimer for this one. Once you do this, you're sort of transforming things, and you can actually make this inaccessible or harder for you to edit later on. So you don't have to do this, and I recommend you don't do this a lot. But once in a while, it's a pretty nice effect. I also need to add the following warning. I regret to inform you, my dear Mac users, that this is a frustrating, unreliable, complete pain to do if you are using PowerPoint for Mac. I do have a workaround that sometimes works to show you, so hang in there even if you are a PowerPoint for Mac user like I am. So let's go through the steps again, but this time instead of text, we will use a circle and use this to crop a photo into a circle. So again, you have your photo and you're just going to insert a shape circle. Like that's what that is. It's a circle shape. You position that to where you want it to crop in the photo, select them both, and then you'll get that pop-up menu, or the menu will change. Look for merge shapes, and then go ahead and click on intersect within that drop-down menu. And especially if you're on a Windows, that's pretty much all you have to do, and it will crop into a nice circle. Lovely. So now let me show you what you have to do if you are using PowerPoint for Mac. All right, so we will go ahead and begin. This is going to be fun. So we've got our photo. I'm going to insert a circle, okay? And then just make it about the size of, how I want it to crop, and then place it exactly where I want. Select both. You have to group them and then ungroup them, and then go up to the shape format, merge shapes, and choose intersect. Now, like I said, and like I put in my warning, this is unreliable. Like I literally just did this on my Mac before recording this little part, and it worked. But then literally a second later, here I am kind of like struggling. I'm repeating the process. I'm trying to do it over and over again, and it just does not work. I don't really know why PowerPoint for Mac was so neglected in this way. I do this on a Windows and it works just fine. I don't have to do this weird grouping and ungrouping workaround. But yeah, no matter how many times, like if it doesn't work the first time, it has never worked for me. So if you try the grouping and ungrouping and it doesn't work, what are you going to do? Well, let me show you. So if it doesn't work and you're on PowerPoint for Mac, you literally, at least this is what I do when I just get mad and give up. You have to open up a new presentation file. And I just switched it to a blank slide so I don't have to worry about placeholders. And I'm going to just copy the elements into the new file. So I've copied the photo, and now let's get the circle shape in there. I've copied that, and I'm using keyboard shortcuts. So that's why you don't necessarily see me copying and pasting. Well, in this case, actually, I'm just going to do a fresh new circle. So we'll add the circle there. Okay, select both, group, select it again, and ungroup, and merge shapes, intersect. And look at that! Exact same steps that I was just using, and somehow worked this time. So yeah, like I said, it is unreliable. And that's why, especially as a PowerPoint for Mac user, I definitely prefer using placeholders, not just for this, but just in general. It makes everything a lot easier anyway, regardless of what platform you use. So yeah, using a shape to crop, that's how it works on a Mac. And yeah, so that's it for this cropping. Let's move on to the next one, the last type of cropping. So what is this last way to crop? Surprise! It's actually a fake crop. Part of the reason I told this little story in the beginning and took that detour was because I wanted you to understand the strategy behind cropping and why we're doing it. I want you to understand that what we're doing is maintaining proportions. Because if you kind of just understand that that is the point, you can do some creative problem solving when you come across challenges or problems that I don't necessarily walk you through in a video. This is how I approach my professional development and my training. So hopefully you have internalized that core goal here. At its core, all we are doing is maintaining proportions that people see. We need people to see the picture, the video in its correct proportion. And sometimes we do that just by cropping out the excess, not showing it. Sometimes we do it by simply not filling in empty space. With that in mind, how would you crop a video in PowerPoint, right? That's what I did earlier. That's how we opened. I showed you a cropped video. I faked it. So far, I've shown you how to crop pictures, where we're actually going in and sort of like editing the actual picture. But how do you do that for a video? Well, I didn't bother. I didn't need to. All I had to do was fake it. All I did was add some rectangle shapes to cover up parts of the video that were the excess. The whole video is still there. All I did was cover up the excess with some shapes that you could not see. There was no need for me to spend time trying to actually crop the video. And that's the type of thing I will see people waste time on. And then they'll be the ones who are like, slide design or being creative takes too long. It took me 20 seconds to add these in, so I could give you a visual example of what I'm talking about. So I wanted to show this because I really do see people sometimes get stuck and actually make life a little harder on them than they need to. Sometimes we can just fake our way through it. There you go. You now know 4 different ways you can crop. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope you enjoyed all of it, even my weird story example. I've got more videos on YouTube to check out. Make sure you subscribe and all that. I do also have a newsletter, so check that out if you want updates and notifications of new videos. By the way, this was a 57-slide PowerPoint that you just watched. Yes, you can create visually engaging presentations using PowerPoint. You can create visually engaging presentations using just about any slide software. Now, my YouTube channel is mostly tech videos or maybe some big picture stuff about presentation skills. But if you want the strategy, if you want to know how to design presentations regardless of software, regardless of audience, regardless of what content you're sharing, that's inside my Presentation Skills Masterclass, my online course. And in my course, I include that custom PowerPoint layout that I showed in this video, all of the layouts that I was showing in this video. There's 100-something layouts. And that's because most people I work with use PowerPoint, and it does have a lot of features that let me create these kind of layouts for you. So it's got lots of placeholders for you. It will help you crop really quickly and just do other design really fast. But my course itself is software neutral. It is not a PowerPoint course. It is a design strategy course, a storytelling strategy course to help you create visually engaging, accessible, and inclusive presentations. Again, regardless of audience, regardless of how you deliver it, whether it's a webinar or in person. And yeah. So definitely take a look at the links if you are interested. I do also have design services and consultation calls, and I can help you with visual communication in general, not just presentation slides. So report design, infographics, website graphics, comics, social media, etc. My offerings change from time to time, but links to everything are in the description below if you're ever interested. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.